Hi, my name is Nick Caruso, and I'll be giving a presentation today on using NSI solutions to assist in an insurance claims processing workflow. So let's get started. So insurance companies today are faced with many challenges. These include labor costs and paper handling, security around risk mitigation and regulatory compliance, and inefficiencies associated with slow and error-prone workflows. But these costs are nothing compared to the costs associated with retaining their existing customer base. Many insurance companies, unlike a lot of businesses who have customers for 10, 20, 30 years, really get to service their customer perhaps only once when that customer needs to make a claim. And when that claim happens, it's of pivotal importance to provide superior customer service in that claims process. In typical claims processing today, it's a very paper-intensive process, especially for more complex claims that may be associated with a total loss of a vehicle. So in that workflow today, paper content comes in, it's collected by the adjuster, and the adjuster needs to get that content, that paperwork, to a service center for processing. The first thing that adjuster may do is they make a copy of that content. They then ship that content through a courier service to the service center. Once it gets received at the service center, it gets scanned, indexed, QC'd, and uploaded into a line of business and content management system. Additionally, if there's any exceptions in that workflow, the content is faxed back and forth. This is a very error-prone and time-consuming process. Each step in this workflow, there's errors that can occur, whether it be at the copier, where paper is left accidentally at the copier. It could be filed locally incorrect. It could be shipped in the courier to an incorrect destination or lost in transit. The person that's doing the indexing at the service center could be making a mistake. Faxes going back and forth could accidentally be faxed to the wrong destination. So it's a very complicated and risk-prone process. We'd like to present to you an alternative to that. If you'll recall, the very first step in that workflow was to make a copy. So instead of hitting the copy button, what if that agent or the adjuster could authenticate themselves on the device easily, press one button, and immediately get the content to where it needs to go? If there are no problems in the workflow, they would get a successful email notification or other form of status alert. And if there was an error, they could get an email notification to correct the error, and if they're interfacing with a client, ideally before the client leaves their office. Our goal at NSI is to take your existing equipment that you've already invested in, whether that be your copiers, or known in the industry as multifunction devices, or your mobile devices, and turn them into the same level of utility that you are experiencing today using ATMs. Everyone's familiar with using an ATM. And can we take your existing equipment and provide that same level of rich workflow functionality in your environment? So what can you do with an ATM today? Specifically, what can you do within 10 seconds on ATMs today? You can log in with your card, type in a PIN code, perhaps hit Fast Cash 100, and retrieve an account balance. So really what that means is you're authenticating, you have some wizard workflows already pre-programmed on the machine, and you're doing bidirectional communication to pull back information from line of business systems. On copiers, multifunction devices, and mobile devices, you can do the same things into your line of business systems, into your claims-based workflows, or in onboarding a new client or a new customer. You can log in with a PIN code or badge. You can upload documents easily into line of business workflows, and you can review status, really get some quick feedback if things were successful or failed in complex workflows. And if there are exceptions, you can use those devices to quickly address those exceptions. So let's go into a story here about claims processing. I'm introducing you two actors, Leslie Hunt, who unfortunately is a client for the insurance company but has had an accident, and Tom Ridge, who's going to be her auto adjuster. So in this scenario, Leslie unfortunately has gotten into a major accident. In this scenario, we're going to talk about how this vehicle is going to be determined as a total loss. And total loss claims are the most paper-intensive processes, and we found that they've been the least automated to date. So Tom Ridge is going to be her adjuster. He's going to be charged with processing that claim, capturing the required documents, and very importantly, ensuring the accuracy of the workflow, of the content being captured, and most importantly, providing superior customer service, because this is the first time that the insurance company has really had an opportunity to prove to Leslie to retain her business for her and for her colleagues and her friends and her family to be a good reference. So in this scenario, Tom is inspecting the vehicle and has determined it to be a total loss. So in the past, he may be taking pictures, maybe collecting information. We're going to be doing all of that now instead of a paper-based workflow. He may even be printing content before he's going out. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to use the NSI mobile solutions where Tom can log in securely through his mobile device, and he can see a list of workflows that he has access to based upon his profile. One of those workflows is a claim. From here, he can actually start a new claim on the fly, or he can add existing content to an existing claim. In this case, the claim had already started, so he's going to go to an existing claim. He can look up a list of his customers that he's currently working with actively. He can fill out applicable metadata information from his mobile device. It could be an iPhone, an Android, it can be a nice tablet size. He can start collecting pictures. He can get also electronic signatures while he's there if he's working with somebody who's doing an assessment as well, if he's working with other individuals, if he needs to get a signature from Leslie at the scene. So he's going to go ahead and collect all that information. Once he's done, when he's hit submit from his mobile device, it's going to securely transmit all of that information that's collected, the data, signatures, pictures, send that to the service center for processing as if he was sending paperwork in. And it's going to magically take all that information and overlay the pictures onto existing forms. So the insurance company doesn't necessarily have to rechange or redesign their form structure. Overlay the information, the signatures, convert it into a PDF, and introduce it into the service center's existing workflows. When Tom comes back into his office, he may do some more homework, may determine the value of the vehicle, and is now going to be working with Leslie to collect all the necessary paperwork to close out this claim. So he's going to interface with Leslie and let her know that she needs to come in and bring in a bunch of documents so we can try and close out this claim. So she's going to be bringing in, at a minimum, a power of attorney document to surrender the vehicle over to the insurance company, plus the required odometer statement. These are two required documents in most of the states in the United States. Tom may have also collected a total loss statement that he's collected himself, as well as a checklist as to everything he needs. And there might be some other information that's required, such as a proof of identification for Leslie, perhaps a police report. So a wide variety of documents that need to be collected to close out this claim. So in the past, Tom would be collecting this information and putting it into a courier pouch, which could take 1 or 2 days to get to a service center for processing, which is a pretty inefficient process. I mean, the service center may have very expensive hardware and software solutions, but it still takes a long time to get to that service center. So can we try and collect that information right where Tom is right now? So Tom is back in his regional office. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to walk up to his multifunction device. He's going to identify himself on that device using a PIN code or a proximity card or even a mobile device to identify himself. Once he's been identified, the device is going to say, "We know who you are, Tom." We're going to expose a button on the device automatically, and then we're going to call this button eCourier. We could call it anything we wanted, but in this demonstration I'm calling it eCourier. And it's just simply to represent, hey, instead of you making a copy of that document before you put it into a courier pouch, why don't you just press that button and we'll capture those documents and we'll securely send it to the service center, cutting down several days of that business process. So he can scan it. It's a pretty easy scan. It gets securely transmitted to the service center, and Tom can get an email notification once it's been sent to the service center saying exactly what was captured. We can do this through a variety of different ways, but we can identify the documents and if all the required documents to close out that claim were received. So that total loss statement, the odometer report, the power of attorney, and the checklist, and so forth. So we can give Tom the assurance that everything is complete before Leslie has to go back home. So several things are happening behind the scenes when Tom hits that simple eCourier button. Tom doesn't have to specify image quality settings or image format settings, or is it single-sided or is it double-sided. You know, scanning can be, to get a nice quality scan, it can be a complicated business process, and we've made that very, very simple for Tom. So behind the scenes, when he scanned that set of documents, we automatically were able to deskew and do some image cleanup. We were automatically able to drop out blank pages, automatically able to do some page orientation, automatically perfect the image and have a nice quality image to get to the service center and really eliminate the need for that courier service. Depending upon your business workflow, you can even send that still to a courier service but directly to an archive process, or depending upon your regulatory requirements, store them locally on site until the compliance period has elapsed, where at that point you can safely and securely destroy those documents. So Tom got that successful email notification. He can also go to the same multifunction device or his mobile device and see a history and status button. And when he clicks on that, he can get detailed information regarding the documents that he submitted in the recent past, and see detailed information regarding the documents that have been received and the status of those documents. Now, what if Tom accidentally forgot a document? Maybe he's new, maybe he's a new adjuster or a new agent. He doesn't exactly know the business workflows, especially for maybe a workflow that's at the periphery of the norm. So what if he's missing a required document? We want to catch that exception as soon as possible. Exception handling is by far the most costly part of any business process. So if an exception occurs, such as a missing document, perhaps it's the odometer statement that was required, instead of sending that successful email notification, we can very quickly, within a matter of seconds, if not minutes, send an error notification letting Tom know exactly the document or documents that are missing. In addition, in that attachment, in that email, we can even give him a barcode cover sheet that he can use to address that exception. And that barcode cover sheet can be used to put on top of a document, to scan it, to marry that document back to the original transaction to close out that claim. So we will make it very, very simple for Tom to do this. So again, instead of seeing that successful notification, he can click on the history and status and see the exception that needs to be addressed. And let's introduce another button now, which is exceptions. So Tom can click on the exceptions button, which will prompt him to put that barcode on top of the odometer statement. And he can now put that barcode cover sheet and the odometer statement on the multifunction device, hit scan, and that document will be married back up to the original, close out the claim, and do that and address the exception before Leslie even leaves. I get this question a lot. We have a whole initiative here to try and go paperless. I really don't want to be printing out these barcode cover sheets to address these exceptions. Do I need to do that? And the answer to that is no. You do not need to print out the barcode cover sheet. In fact, that exceptions button, by default, you can have it so it's going to ask, yes, you can use that barcode cover sheet, but you can simply click on that button and select what we call an electronic ticket of these exceptions. Because we know who Tom is, or we know where he's at, in what location or what building, and based upon that we can show them a list of exceptions that need to get addressed. So Tom doesn't need to use that barcode cover sheet. He can just put that document in there and hit scan. And that document will get married back up to the original transaction so he can close out that claim. So what if Leslie does not have that required document with her? Well, we certainly want to empower her to be able to try and address that exception without having to come back in. It's so important to provide superior customer service, especially if she doesn't have to come back in or provide a hard copy document. So what if that barcode cover sheet that I previously shown you can be used as a fax cover sheet or even a scan instructional cover sheet? And what we can do is we can provide information on these exception cover sheets of what needs to be addressed and provide options of how to address those exceptions. So this provides you an example of lots of different ways we can use to facilitate capturing content. We can capture content, obviously what I showed you, through mobile devices. We can capture content through multifunction devices, as well as emails, faxes, web forms, integrations into Outlook and Notice. So a wide range of capabilities. I'm just showing you just a fraction of what can be done. So the claims processing solution I just demonstrated to you showed you how you can use a mobile device as well as a multifunction device, often equipment that's already in your organization, to accelerate your claims processing workflow, reduce errors while providing superior customer satisfaction. It's important for you to know that the investment of this solution however, incorporates a lot more than just multifunction devices and mobile devices, but also integrating into mainframe systems, line of business systems, content management systems, a wide range of connecting disparate systems within your organization. So to recap on the solution that I just discussed, the eCourier workflow that Tom used was a very easy process for him. It's really important when you're looking at these type of solutions, is it really easy for the end user, for the employee, whether that be the agent or that be the adjuster, to use this technology and adopt it, and for them to find value. We were able to show you how we can easily address those exceptions. There was that email workflow or other types of workflows to identify that there was an exception. And Tom, in this case, could use the multifunction device or even his mobile device, email or fax, to address that exception. And he was able to get information regarding the status of his transactions very easily. I showed it to you on the multifunction device as well as on his mobile device. He can find out the status of the claims transaction. So, again, my name is Nick Caruso. It's been a pleasure sharing with this capability with you today. If you would like to see a live hands-on demonstration of this, please contact your local representative. Thank you.